I first heard Jimmy Buffett before I even knew his name. It was the summer of 1974, and I was just a kid swimming at the neighborhood pool, while somebody's radio played Come Monday through the warm afternoon air. I didn't know who he was then, but something about that sound stuck with me. 3 years later, I heard Margaritaville for the very first time, on a country and western radio station, and that was it. I was all in. I stole my sister's copy of Changes in Latitude, Changes in Attitude, and from the moment I dropped the needle, I was hooked. Those songs weren't just music, they were a map to a way of living I hadn't known existed, but I knew I wanted in. Over the years, I had the privilege of seeing Jimmy about a half dozen times, from the heat of Jazz Fest to the rain of Wolf Trap, from Massachusetts to Dallas. Every show felt like a homecoming. Now, as I work on this channel and share the stories of the Gulf Coast, I've realized I walk in a path he helped clear. The Gulf Coast was his birthplace and his playground, just like it is mine. His spirit is in the salt air, the laughter, and the guitars by the water, and the quiet moments of gratitude between storms. This is my tribute to a lifelong hero. Jimmy, thank you for the music, for the laughter, for the inspiration you handed another Southern boy all those years ago, like a big fish on a tight line, as if you were saying, "Here, go see where this will take you." Here's to you, Mr. Buffett. Thanks for showing us that living well truly is the best revenge. The Sea Screamer isn't just a boat. It's Panama City Beach's answer to a roller coaster on water, tearing across the Gulf since 1993. Built by Vietnam vet Andy Redmond, who went from flying choppers to pushing throttles, this big, bright, yellow speedboat looks like what happens when NASCAR meets Jacques Cousteau. She was built up in Wetumpka, Alabama, because of course she was, and once claimed the title of biggest speedboat in the world. That's some red, white, and blue bragging rights right there. They launch out of Treasure Island Marina for a 90-minute ride that's part thrill show, part Gulf Coast tour. Think dolphins, crab traps, water gun fights for the kids, and just enough speed to give Grandma a good story to tell. These days, Andy's son, Cody's at the helm, keeping things loud, fast, and full of fun. Newer boats, same wild ride. If you're in town and skip the Sea Screamer, you're missing out on one of the best things on the beach. The Atlantic bottlenose dolphin started out millions of years ago looking more like a weird little swamp otter than anything else. Legs, fur, and all. But over time it traded paws for fins, got sleeker, smarter, and turned into a sonar-powered fish-chasing torpedo. They've been tearing through the Gulf since way before condos, spring breakers, or even Grandma's gumbo pot. From bayous to blue water, these dolphins are the OG locals. Smart, social, and always down to stir up trouble in the waters. So why do dolphins ride boat wakes? Because they're dang good at it. First off, it saves them energy. That boat's turning up more water than a redneck on a four-wheeler in a mud hole. And the dolphins just slide in behind it, like, heck yeah, free ride. It's like hitching a ride without having to stick out your thumb. Second, these dolphins ain't just smart, they're straight up thrill seekers. They're out there surfing boat wakes like it's Daytona 500, flipping around, showing off like the class clowns who also made valedictorian. And it ain't just solo fun. Sometimes you see a whole squad of them just cruising along together like a pod of beach bums with built-in jet skis. It's social, it's slick, and it's just another day in the life of these Gulf coastal badasses. So yeah, they do it 'cause they can. The Destin Destiny ain't no royal yacht. It's a 65-foot fishing machine that's been hauling folks out to the Gulf since 1994. Run by Destin Party Boat Fishing, she's got AC, bathrooms, shade, and room for 42 people to hook into red snapper, grouper, and whatever else is biting. There's no fancy bells, no shiny whistles here. Just salt air, diesel fumes, and the dreams of dinner with fins. Check-ins at 6:30 a.m. Sharp. Not ish, not I hit the snooze button too many times. Not, I was waiting on my biscuit at Whataburger. 6:30 a.m. on the dot. You roll up to the ticket booth, get your slip like it's a backstage pass to the seafood rodeo, and then head on down to the pier to board the boat. Now, don't get all excited. You ain't boarding yet. The crew's still doing their magic, rigging baits, untangling lines, and probably fixing whatever broke yesterday. You'll wait a bit, eyeing your competition like it's musical chairs with mackerel. When it's go time, you board. Why do you want to be early? Because this is no assigned seating, Chief. It's a first come, first serves kind of deal. And the back corner, by the motors, that's the gold mine. That's the VIP section of snapper swapping. This is best for folks who know a fishing rod from a curtain rod and aren't afraid to get a little fish guts under their fingernails. Why is it the hot seat? You got less line tangling with other folks' bad decisions. You got room to move your pole around without knocking Granny's hat off. That engine churn, fish love it like rednecks love fireworks. So help is always close by if you're wrestling with something that's prehistoric. The downside, everybody and their cousin wants that spot. So if you show up late, you'll be wedged mid-ship between a first-timer and a guy who smells like he brought his own chum.
Captain Aaron Finkley's at the helm, a man who probably knows the shape of every limestone hump and sucking fridge out in the Gulf better than he knows his own blood type. And let me tell you, this fella doesn't just steer, he hosts the whole dang aquatic rodeo. Calls out bites over the PA like it's fishing bingo, and keeps the whole boat from turning mutinous when the sun's cooking folks like crab balls. We pulled out of Destin Harbor at 7 a.m. sharp. Gears rigged, sunscreen slathered, coffee-induced optimism high. Headed south-southwest, out to where the water starts to get deep. About 160 feet, give or take. Over a reef that looks like a buffet table, if you're a red snapper. An hour and a half later, the horn blows. And it's go time. You can almost hear the Gulf whispering. Y'all ready to work for your lunch? First drop, something mean took my bait and snapped the line like a stale Slim Jim. Shark, dolphin, Poseidon himself. Heck if I know. I guess it was the Gulf's way of saying good morning. We were running double hook bottom rigs with 20-ounce sinkers, aka shoulder day for your reel on. Bait was cut fish and squid. But truth be told, these fish weren't picky. If it smelled like it died recently, they ate it. Squid stayed on better. Cut fish was like tossing a free meal to a bunch of underwater raccoons. Now, let me tell you about the real menace of the Gulf. It ain't sharks. It ain't rogue waves. It's them sleek, grinning, bait-stealing hell spawn we call dolphins. Don't let that TV show fool you. These ain't your friendly flipper types. Captain didn't even hesitate. Soon as one of them popped up near the boat, he got on the PA and hollered, "We got demons in the water, folks. Guard your groceries." And he wasn't lying. I hooked something nice. Line going tight, rod bending like a palm tree in a hurricane. And just when I thought I had dinner halfway to the surface, here comes this aquatic banditti. I'm talking flippers, attitude, and no regard for the law. That dolphin zipped in, grabbed my fish like it was a free sample at Costco, and we started going full-on tug-of-war. I'm yanking, he's pulling, folks around me cheering like it's a heavyweight bout. I gave it everything I had. That dolphin just smiled, winked at me, and snatched that fish clean off the hook like a magician at a redneck kid's birthday party. Didn't even have the decency to leave me the hell. I ain't even mad. That slick SOB earned it. The captain was right. Demons. As for the gear on board, it ain't new. It ain't fancy. Heck, it may have seen service in the First World War. These reels squeak, grunt, and got more personality than a lot of people I know. They'll make you work for it, especially when you're cranking 180 feet with a sinker that feels like a bowling ball tied to an anchor chain.
My teenage son, who's usually hot stuff on a redfish rig, looked like he was negotiating a truce with gravity by hour 2. But the crew, man, they were gold star folks. Like Waffle House at 2 a.m., fast, friendly, and somehow always exactly what you need. They untangled line like therapists fixing broken marriages, baited hooks with surgical precision, and kept spirits high, even when the sun was trying to murder everybody on board. On our way back in, they scrubbed that deck cleaner than a preacher's browser history, then filleted every fish like they were doing a sushi competition. Tipped them good, y'all, like 20% minimum. These folks don't just earn it, they survive for it. People were snagging vermilion snappers to the left and the right of me, but finally it was time for us to pull up a fish. And now for the loot. I caught 5 vermilion snappers. My boy caught one that could have bench pressed a Yeti cooler. And we left with a dozen fillets. And that kind of sea-earned satisfaction that makes a cold beer taste even colder. And these beeliners, they're like red snapper's snappy little cousins who smoke menthols behind the tackle shop. Small, but angry. Flashy pink with yellow stripes. And meaner than a hungover cat. They will fight you like you owe them child support, and then taste like buttered heaven when you fry them up. Or, if you're feeling bougie, poach them in coconut milk like they just came back from battle. Out here where the dirt finally gives up and the Gulf rolls in like it owns the place, you'll hit Pensacola Beach, a long, skinny stretch of sand that looks like it might snap clean off and drift away, but somehow hangs on like your uncle after 4 beers and a bad decision. This beach doesn't flinch. Hurricanes, oil spills, spring breakers. It just takes the hits, shrugs, and keeps going. Tougher than gas station jerky and twice as salty. The sand out here, it's bright enough to sunburn your retinas. This ain't no tourist trick. It's ground up Appalachian quartz that got hauled down by rivers a few ice ages back. Walk it barefoot and it squeaks like a dog toy, which somehow just makes it feel more alive. Pensacola Beach doesn't need flash. It's a line in the sand between chaos and calm, where the Gulf's always talking and the wind don't care what your job title is. You'll see old-timers tossing cast nets like poetry, hear bluegrass out of beach bars with sticky floors, and grab a plate of shrimp and grits at a joint that hasn't changed its menu since disco died. It ain't polished. It ain't fancy, but it's honest, and that counts for something, at least with me. Pensacola Beach is the real deal, and it's damn happy to have you. Langdon Beach is so laid back, it makes a porch swing feel like a NASCAR race. This little slice of sandy heaven is also tucked inside the Gulf Islands National Seashore, just a stone throw away from the more touristy chaos of Pensacola Beach. But over here, ain't no neon, no party boats, no guy in a tank top trying to sell you parasailing lessons at 9 a.m. This is where the Gulf comes to chill. Now I know folks like to throw around the phrase, hidden gem. But Langdon Beach ain't just hidden, it's off the grid, at least in spirit, even if it is technically on the map. Out at the western tip of Santa Rosa Island, this place ain't trying to be a scene at all. It's trying to be a reminder of what Florida looked like before everything turned into a Beach Boys song or a retirees HOA meeting. You get powdery white sand that squeaks under your feet like it's trying to whisper, "Hey buddy, relax." You got Gulf breezes that knock the stress out of your shoulders and into next week. And you've got space, real space, not like scoot your towel over 6 inches from the stranger next to you space, We're talk walk 30 steps and forget people exist kind of space. And the history? Oh, it's thicker than the mayonnaise on a church picnic sandwich. Just a short walk from the beach, you got Fort Pickens, this old brick and cannon fort that used to guard the coast. You're sitting there eating your sandwich, staring at the ocean, and 100 feet away some Civil War ghost is like, "Yep, we used to shoot at pirates from right here." How's that for a lunch for you? Now don't go expecting no 5-star resort setup. This ain't no Holiday Inn Express. Facilities are basic, but honest. Parking, bathrooms at work, a pavilion if you want a snack in the shade. It's the kind of place you bring your own cooler, drag your own chair, and thank the universe that not every beach has been turned into a t-shirt outlet strip mall. And the best part, if a few folks do show up and you start getting that itch for solitude, just walk down a little further. The Gulf will be waiting for you, silent, glittery, and totally cool with your need for peace and quiet. So if you're wanting a beach with a little heart, a little grit, and a whole lot of soul, Langdon Beach is your huckleberry. Come for the sand, stay for the vibe, because sometimes the best kind of vacations is one that doesn't feel like a vacation at all. It just feels like freedom. If you keep driving east from the national park, you hit Park West, where the sand's still sugar white, the water's still stupid pretty, and life still slows down just enough to make sense again. A big old parking lot sits right there off Fort Pickens Road, and buddy, they ain't stingy about it. Plenty of room for you, your buddies, your cooler, and that one cousin who always shows up late but still expects a spot. You got covered pavilions with real, honest-to-God grills under them, in case you want to show off your world-famous hot dog skills. Picnic tables too, so you ain't got to eat your sandwich half buried in sand like some kind of caveman. Now you may want to check ahead. I think they have to be reserved, and they probably cost a little bit too. They set up real restrooms and outdoor showers too, which honestly feels like a luxury when you're sunburnt, sandy, and just one bad decision away from getting banned from a Waffle House. In the busy season, they even post up lifeguards, and not the bored, half-Texan kind either. These folks actually look like they could haul your sunburned ass out of the Gulf if you got too ambitious with a boogie board. And the beach itself, man, it's wide open. No fancy boardwalks, no overpriced ice cream shops. Just clean sand, clear water, and all the space you need to set up camp like you're king of the coastline. Park West feels like Florida ought to be. Easy, simple, and about as close to paradise as you can get without catching a sunburn in places you didn't know could burn. And if all that didn't sell you on Park West, they have food trucks that serve shaved ice. To me, that's the height of civilization right there.
Alright y'all, let's talk about Casino Beach, which isn't as much a beach as it is a Gulf Coast fever dream. Equal parts sunscreen, fried shrimp, and just general tomfoolery. All held together by the gravitational pull of a giant beach ball water tower that looks like it was designed by a drunk cartoonist. This ain't your quiet, toes in the sand, bring a book kind of beach. No sir, Casino Beach is awake, screaming, strutting, and double-fisting frozen daiquiris with a Bluetooth speaker shoved in its cooler. The sand is so wide it could pass for a country club member. And the water is that crazy shade of green you'd swear was photoshopped until you're knee-deep in it with a sunburn and a smile. Now back in the day, there was a real deal casino here. Blackjack, bourbon, brass bands, all up in the salt air. Till some hurricane came in and turned it into a memory. But instead of letting it go gently into that watery grave, the beach leaned in and said, "Screw it, let's keep the party going." Just with surfboards instead of slot machines. You got vendors hawking everything from sunscreen to glow-in-the-dark margaritas. Families with 10 beach chairs and 2 coolers per kid. Lifeguards watching the chaos like it's the Daytona 500. And some fella in American flag swim trunks trying to impress a Tinder date with a pro watercross stunt and a styrofoam cooler full of Busch Light. And look, if you're like me and you're more of a sip iced tea and read Faulkner beachgoer, there's a quiet, no alcohol zone for me and you too. But Casino Beach? It's for the people, the good, the sunburned, and the gloriously rowdy. The vibe is like if spring break met a family reunion and everybody brought sandwiches. The ghosts of that old casino, they're still here. Not like, ooh, spooky, but like your favorite drunk uncle, telling stories by the bonfire. You feel them in every laugh, every bad sun tattoo, every chorus of Sweet Home Alabama that gets hollered across the shoreline after 2 rum buckets and a fish taco. So yeah, Casino Beach ain't subtle, but sure as heck is alive. If you're looking for peace and quiet, keep on driving. But if you want the beating heart of the Gulf, slather on some sunscreen and get in, loser, we're going beaching. Alright, picture this. You're riding down the coastal section of Highway 399. The sun is high in the air. The radio's cranking out that Kenny Chesney. And your cooler is full. And then you hit it. Opal Beach. Not a tiki bar in sight. No banana boats. No shirtless chads cranking out Pitbull on a Bluetooth speaker the size of your dad's Buick. Just peace, quiet, and sand so white it looks like someone spilled a bag of flour across the coastline. Now I know what you're thinking. Sounds kind of fancy. And yeah, it does. But this ain't no hoity-toity beach club with valet parking and overpriced crab dip. This is raw, uncut, straight from the Gulf beauty. Nature the way it was before every real estate developer with a comb-over showed up and started slapping condos on every dune. Named after Hurricane Opal, which came in like a pissed-off ex and flattened half the Gulf Coast back in the 1990s. This place rebuilt itself, not with souvenir shops and beer pong tournaments, but with dunes, COs, and actual serenity. And let me tell you, Opal Beach is blessed with facilities that actually work. You got real bathrooms, not those plastic porta saunas you normally find at natural beaches. Showers to wash the salt off of you, and covered pavilions where you can eat your lunch in peace. It's quiet, peaceful. You can actually hear the waves, the birds, even the sand making that squeaky sound under your flip-flops, like it's happy to see you. Ain't nobody blowing vape clouds in your face or trying to sell you anything. You may even forget your phone exists. If you want the beach and not the BS, if you're into nature that doesn't smell like tanning oil and bad decisions, Opal Beach is your spot. Y'all, I'm telling you, go there, sit, breathe, be a dang human for half a minute. Panama City Beach is where sugar white sands meet emerald green water, and flip-flops rule the day. Whether you're casting off a pier, devouring fresh seafood, or soaking up the sun, PCB blends lazy Gulf Coast charm with just enough wild to keep you coming back for more. Once just a sleepy fishing spot, Panama City Beach got its name from some early 1900s hype tied to the Panama Canal. After World War II, tourists poured in, and by the 1970s, it was all muscle cars, tube tops, and Leonard Skinner on blast. Spring break turned legendary here. Today it has condos in Margaritaville, but you can still score oysters, a bucket of rum, and a sunburn before lunch. That's living, baby. Panama City Beach has 27 miles of sugar white sand and nearly 100 public access points. No private beach drama here. Just show up, kick off your flip-flops, and find your spot. Some of Panama Beach access points are simple dune paths. Others come loaded with restrooms, parking, and even snowballs, or dolphins if you time it right. A few of my favorites are Access Point 1, quiet and chill, no frills, just vibe. Alright, let me paint y'all a picture of Access Point 1, down on Spyglass Drive. Now, if you're the kind of person who likes your beach days loud, crowded, and smelling like spray-on sunscreen and hot dogs, this probably ain't your spot. But if you're looking for a little peace, a lot of sand, and maybe just a pinch of off the beaten path, well, this one is for you. Access Point 1 is kind of like the old school Panama City Beach before the condos and clubs showed up. It's not fancy. Heck, it's barely marked. You rode down Spyglass Drive,
Blink and you'll miss it. Just a little path through the sea oats that spills out onto a quiet stretch of white sand in clear Gulf water. No lifeguards, no vendors, no ice cream cart, just nature, baby. Now, let me level with you. This ain't one of the places you can roll up with a van full of kids and a wagon full of beach toys expecting amenities. There's not a lot of parking, and what there is fills up faster than a Friday fish fry. No restrooms, so if nature calls, your best hope she's polite about it. No outdoor showers either, so plan on taking a bit of Panama City home with you in your shoes. And no lifeguard, which means it's all up to you to not be dumb in the water. But here's the upside. It's quiet, real quiet. You can actually hear the waves in the wind and maybe the occasional gull laughing at you for forgetting your sunscreen. This beach ain't trying to be all things to all people. It's just trying to be what it always has been. A simple slice of the Gulf Coast, unchanged and unbothered. Historically, this little stretch of beach was the kind of spot locals used when they didn't want to deal with the spring break circus. Before all the development in the high-rise hotels, most of Panama City Beach was like this. Just sandy trails down to the water, the smell of salt in the air, and the sound of folks chilling in the sun with a cooler full of cheap beer and a beat-up boombox. So yeah, Access Point 1 may not have all the bells and whistles, but that's kind of the point. It's for folks who don't need a resort to have a good time. Just a towel, a cold drink, and maybe a good book or bad company. In short, if you're into the minimalist beach vibe with a hint of nostalgia and zero judgment, Spyglass Drive's Access Point 1 is your jam. Just bring what you need and maybe a roll of toilet paper. Beach Access Point 4. Now we're talking. This one's parked right next to Schooners, a place folks around here don't just eat at, they worship. It's got that perfect mix of salty air, live tunes, and fried Gulf goodness that'll make you swear you hit the beach bum jackpot. So, if you want a beach day with easy access to live music, legit seafood, and enough people watching to keep you entertained till the tide rolls in, Access Point 4 is your golden ticket. Just follow the sound of guitars, the smell of shrimp, and you'll know you're in the right place. Access Point 54. Now this right here is the Cadillac of beach entrances. It's sitting right next to M.B. Miller County Pier, which means you're getting front row views of the Gulf, a steady breeze, and just enough people watching to keep it spicy without feeling like a Walmart on Black Friday. This spot has got legit parking. None of that circle like a buzzard and pray nonsense. Nice restrooms too, not those sketchy little concrete boxes that smell like boiled Gatorade and bad decisions. Now here's where it really gets good. Dolphins. Not like once in a blue moon dolphins either. These suckers show up regularly. Out of all the access points, this is the one I'd plant my chair at. Easy living, good eats a short walk away, and nature showing off like it got something to prove. If you're looking to do Panama City Beach right, this is where you want to be. Alright y'all, let me tell you about Beach Access 56, better known around these parts as Dog Beach. It's about 400 feet of sandy freedom where dogs can splash, dig, and sniff each other's butts to their heart's content. Just remember, leashes are the law, and you gotta pick up after your pup. Ain't nobody want to step on a landmine in flip-flops. They got poop bag stations, outdoor showers, even a wheelchair ramp, so everyone, two-legged or four, can get down to the beach easy. And when your fur missile's worn out from running in circles, you can head across the street to Pier Park, where there's a dog-friendly patio and shops that'll treat your mutt like royalty. So yeah, Beach Access 56 ain't just a beach. It's a tail wagging, sun-soaked, paw print leaving good time for the whole dang family. The world famous Flora-Bama Lounge ain't just a bar. It's a battered beach shack Frankensteined together over the years into a full-blown cultural experiment and barely controlled chaos. It squats right there on the Florida-Alabama line, like it got drunk, picked a fight with two states, and somehow managed to come out on top. You don't come here to be polite. You come here to forget your name for a few hours and trade it in for something louder, sweatier, and soaked in rum. But let's get real. we got to talk about the food, because somewhere between the spilled beer, the bikini contest, and some dude hurling a mullet across state lines like it's the Olympics, the old River Grill is over there quietly slinging out shrimp tacos. That'll change your life. But first, the first thing we're doing is ordering half a pound of Gulf shrimp, fresh as hell, caught so close you could probably still hear the boat motor. No overthinking, no fancy tricks, just fat, sweet shrimp, boiled till they're perfect, then soaked in enough butter and garlic you'll thank your mother for bringing you into a world that has such wonders in it. The Flora-Bama could have just stopped right there and you'd have the perfect appetizer, but they didn't. They dressed this up like a crawfish ball, complete with sausage, new potatoes, and a piece of corn. Now on to the main attraction, the blackened shrimp tacos I've heard so much about. They take gumbo-sized shrimp, spiced to perfection, and laid out on a tortilla like the kitchen's doing you a personal favor. They throw in some shredded cabbage, not for show, mind you, but to give your mouth a little crunch to balance all that glory. Then they hit it with a big old slather of comeback sauce. And if you ain't familiar, comeback sauce is basically mayonnaise and mustard that decided to join a biker gang. It's creamy, peppery, and just enough bite to stop you right in your tracks. This ain't fine dining. This is food for people who've been out in the sun too long, drank just a little too much, and need something in their hands that tastes like salvation. And if you're the type to skip dessert, buddy, you're just wrong. The key lime pie here, it ain't polite. It's sharp, cold, and so dang good it'll have you leaning on the railing, staring out at the Gulf, thinking real hard about where your life has gone right. It's the kind of pie that doesn't just let you take a bite and move on. It grabs you by the collar and tells you straight to your face, you're gonna remember me, son. And by gosh, you're gonna. Nobody at the Flora-Bama gives a dang where you're from, or what you look like, or how you rolled up. You could be a millionaire in flip-flops, or a broke poet with sand in your pockets. Doesn't matter, you're here now. So order those tacos, raise your glass to Jimmy Buffett, let the music from 5 different stages hit you like a Gulf Coast fever dream. At the Flora-Bama, the rules don't mean a damn thing. But the comeback sauce? That's the gospel from the coast, y'all. Sharky's ain't just a beach restaurant. It's a dang Panama City beach legend. Started back in 1986 by a lifeguard named the Shark. Because of course, it grew from a little oyster shack into a full-blown tiki palace with the biggest open-air palapa in the United States. More than 100,000 palm fronds. Because, hey, Florida, right? They got cold drinks, hot crab legs, a pirate ship playground for the kids, and live music most nights. Leonard Skinner even played there once. You want Gulf Coast vibes with a side of fried shrimp and a shark attack cocktail? This, my friend, is your spot. Alright, so here's the rundown on the oysters. Sharky's oyster combo gives you a dozen baked bad boys, split 3 ways. 4 with garlic butter and Parmesan. Fancy garlic bread of the sea, right? 4 Monterey style with cheddar jack and bacon, because of course. And 4 with jalapenos tossed in. For that Florida spice? Now, I'm from New Orleans, so I know what a good oyster's supposed to taste like. These ain't bad, but they ain't knock your socks off either. Next time, I'll probably just wave at them on the way to the crab legs. This right here is where the Shark made its comeback. I'm talking 12 big old shrimp, peeled and swim in a pool of Key West garlic butter like they were on vacation. Came with 2 breadsticks, but let's be honest, they were just butter shovels. Shrimp were fresh, fat, and fine, but that sauce, man, was the main event. I mopped it up with the breadsticks, then went hunting for stray oysters just to keep the party going. Lord have mercy, it was stupid good. The key lime pie, coastal classic, right? Now look, I'm a man who takes this pie seriously, and lately some slices have been letting me down. Tasted more like sad lemon pudding than anything out of Key West. But this one? Heck no. Tart, creamy, and big enough to question your life choices in the best way possible. Straight up A+ slice. I'll be ordering it again, probably twice next time, just to make up for the past disappointments at other places. Now this joint was happening, packed tighter than a cooler at a tailgate, so I figured the service might be moving at Gulf coastal speed. But nope, surprise, surprise, surprise. Service was spot on, fast, friendly, and fun, and get this, a parrot helped take my order. That's right, a talking bird. Only in Florida, y'all. So yeah, Sharky's ain't just dinner, it's a dang experience. You got shrimp swimming in garlic butter, pie that'll make you rethink your life, and oysters doing their best, and a parrot hollering your order like it's Mardi Gras. It's Florida at full throttle. Loud, weird, tasty as heck, and a little bit magical. So next time you're cruising down Front Beach Road with sand in your shoes and salt in your hair, pull up a chair at Sharky's. Just don't be surprised if you leave full, sunburned, and slightly in love with this place. Ripley's Believe It or Not got cooking way back in 1918, when this fella, Robert Ripley, started putting out a newspaper cartoon full of the weirdest, wildest, ain't no way that's real kind of stuff he could dig up. Folks loved it. Next thing you know, he's got radio shows, books, and a whole dang empire built on shrunken heads and two-headed goats. The man turned what? Into big business, and today, Ripley's is worldwide, still hollering truth is stranger than fiction, and honestly, they ain't wrong. Now the Panama City Beach version of this fever dream opened up in 2006, and you'll know when you found it, because it looks like a cruise ship just gave up and ran into a building. Front Beach Road ain't exactly subtle, and neither is Ripley's. So what's inside this madness? My favorite exhibit is this one. A man named Rodney Fox is spearfishing off Australia when a great white shark comes out of nowhere and dang near eats him alive. Rips him up so bad you can see his lungs. But old Rodney survives, holds his insides together, and lives to tell the tale. Most folks will stay on dry land after that. Not Rodney. He turns around and becomes the world's top shark expert, starts cage diving, filming them, and studying them like a madman. Fast forward to Jaws, and Steven Spielberg's like, we need this to look real. Who does he call? Rodney freaking Fox. That shark attack survivor helped make the scariest fish flick in movie history. So yeah, dude got chewed up, stitched back together, and then taught Hollywood how to be scared of sharks the right way. Absolute legend in my book. I've been to a few Margaritavilles in my day, probably more than a man legally should. And let's be honest, they're all kind of the same. You got the beachy vibe, a laid-back bar crowd, friendly folks slinging boat drinks, and usually a turtle hanging from the ceiling like he owns the place. Don't get me wrong, it's always a good time. But today, I want to switch gears and talk about something that's very important. I want to talk about one of the finest dang hamburgers I have ever wrapped my mouth around. Margaritaville's Cheeseburger in Paradise. Now, before we get into the grill marks and the fixins', let me take y'all back to where it all began. Before Jimmy Buffett became the king of somewhere hot, he was sailing around the Caribbean in the 1970s on a boat called the Euphoria 2. Sounds like a yacht full of good times and easy living, right? But nope, this was less yacht rock and more Gilligan's Island, but hungover. They were stuck at sea, running low on food, living off peanut butter and prayers, probably smelling like damp rope and defeat. Then they roll into Road Town and Tortola, just barely floating. And Jimmy stumbles into this little marina joint called the Spinnaker. He's tired, he's salty, he's starving, and then salvation arrives. A cheeseburger, but not any burger, the burger.
I like mine with lettuce and tomato. Yeah! Heinz 57 and French fried potato.
Jimmy takes one bite, and boom, a legend is born. And instead of just counting his blessings and moving on, he does what any good Southern poet would do. He writes a damn song about it. Cheeseburger in Paradise drops in 1978 and hits the charts like a greasy metaphor. Parrot heads everywhere lose their minds. Folks start screaming about Rare with Munster and celebrating burgers like they're communion wafers. Now, fast forward till today. You roll into Margaritaville and order up that cheeseburger in Paradise, and buddy, you're taking part in history. It's not just beef and bread, it's Buffett lore grilled to perfection. It's survival with a side of fries. It's that one bite and you say, "You made it, Hoss. Welcome back to land." So yeah, next time you're sitting at a Margaritaville, sunburnt and full of boat drinks, do yourself a favor. Get the cheeseburger, and when it hits the table, don't just eat it. Savor it. That ain't just lunch. That's paradise. Medium rare. Thank you for watching. If you're hungry for more of the strange and beautiful chaos that is the Gulf Coast, we got a podcast now over on Patreon. And if you haven't hit that subscription button yet, now's the time. Don't overthink it, just do it. Until next time, folks, this is Gulf Coastal Connections. Stay curious, stay hungry, and stay salty.